Hey Sag, how about a metal dog reading? I have a new deck. So let's see what we find out here from the Urban Tarot. It is a Thoth-based deck, and I am much more of a Rider-Waite-Smith user, so I'm excited to learn Thoth a little bit with you. Let's see what happens. I'm going to get you some advice from your future self. Let's see what the cards want to tell you, Sag. Okay, so first, where you are, how you appear today. Wow, I'm sorry, Sag. You're appearing as a 10 of Swords in ruin. So you're not in a good space right now. Or you're just finishing up with the end of something here. It's usually a long time coming, the 10 of Swords. We'll find out more. Your future self is in a Knight of Swords, the game master. So you're staying in this swords here, Sagittarius. You are, you're becoming adept at this intellectual clarity here as a Knight of Swords. Okay. The kind of journey that you are on at the moment, that your Knight of Swords, your future self, wants to talk to you about and give you a little bit of guidance on. You are on the... Did I show you the Knight of Swords? I'm not sure I did. This is the Knight of Swords. He is also the game master. You see him here winning at chess. Okay. Your journey, the journey that you were on, is the journey of the rock star, the Knight of Wands here. So this is a much rasher, more passionate energy that you are in. Much more about getting attention. It can be a bit of players. You think of the lead singer in a rock band. It's a great representation of the Knight of Wands there. So your future self, this Knight of Swords, wants to tell you in your 10 of Swords space that you're going to have to give up something here. You might want to release this idea of completion that you have, a 4 of Wands, which is really an idea of your ideal relationship in some way, or a very stable situation because there's 4 legs on the chair when you have a 4 of Wands here. It's called a card of completion in this deck. So when you've kind of reached that, basic level of stability of, thank you. My dog is doing incessant self-licking. It's a little bit annoying. Okay. All right. And then you are supposed to embrace the High Priestess. This is about your intuition, the things that are perhaps not being said, that are not out on the surface. The 4 of Wands is very much like out in the open. And the High Priestess knows in herself, but she's not as out there. So let's find out more about this. On the bottom of the deck, we see the 3 of Works here. So is this a very practical, making the world with others? You envision, you make it, usually a collaborative effort. So this might be about the world that you want to build for yourself. Let's see. Let's clarify. I'm going to use this little Star Seekers deck to clarify here for you. Sag. So many people I love are Sagittarians. I'm a Scorpio on the cusp, but Sagittarians. Okay, 10 of Swords, ruin. So this is you right now. So if you relate to this, stick with me here. We'll get you a little advice. So presently, Ruin, the Ten of Swords, we see Justice here holding up her sword of truth. We will find out more. Maybe that you've been seeking justice. You're involved in some kind of process of justice. It's not a comfortable place that you're in. Ten of Swords is a very painful place. So let's see what does it have to do with justice. Also, we have a Nine of Swords here. This card of anxiety, insomnia. You can see she is really up in her head. You are up in your head, up in your thoughts, and there's a kind of overshadowing feel here from this bear that is kind of behind you in the night. Sometimes I see that bear as protective and supportive. What else do we find out here? And here you are. I feel like there's something here about, so we see a Page of Swords here. There's something here about you going inward, getting quieter here, because what we see here is that, there's discomfort that you're in. It has to do with issues of justice. And the Page of Swords is young. It could be like a young part of yourself that's kind of coming up, has a lot of curiosity, and a Sagittarian astrologer I like, Coyote Star Astrology, she said that Sagittarians can be know-it-alls. So that always seems like such a young impulse to give advice, to talk a lot. The Page of Swords is a chatterbox. And you're definitely not in a good place, right? You're very concerned and anxious and in pain around issues of justice. And so you might be learning a lot, or you might be having a lot to say right now. So this is where you're at now. It doesn't look comfortable to me. The game master looks a lot more comfortable, your future self. But anytime that there's nines and tens of swords, I like your future self, want to help you move out of that space. And because we know that you're being advised to resort to the strategy or the methodology of a high priestess, as opposed to this like very open, everything out on the surface, Four of Wands. That's where I'm kind of getting that part of this advice is about finding quiet somewhere. All right, of course, on your way there, you're going on a rock star's journey with the Knight of Wands. So let's find out more about this journey. What is this about? It appears to be very passionate, very creative. Card jumping out here. Yes, to reiterate that, you have a new idea. There's something that is new that sets you out on this very creative journey that's really about you having a passion, a new one, discovering it, pursuing it like a rock star. Of course, there can be some excess in that. We also see you in a hermit mode. That's very different from the rock star. It's almost like an opposite energy. It seems to balance this attention-seeking Knight of Wands with going inward, a spiritual practice that is solitary, that is, one with the universe here, like the hermit, very earthy process that you're very passionate about. And finally, these cards are a little bit hard. There is the very stable King of Pentacles. So you're a little bit all over the place, my friend, on this journey. Yeah. There's definitely a spiritual piece to this. And then I say this because we see justice, is what you're concerned with. This heartbreak of the 10 of ruin that is where you are currently. That can be, a personal relationship, work. This seems to have to do with larger scale issues like social justice issues that are, you're suffering because of them. You're not sleeping, you have anxiety, you're having trouble, you're chatterboxing, you're talking a lot. Definitely we see your journey taking you into a more mature, quiet, kingly space. The kings are people who they're stable. He's Mr. Security, Mr. Abundance, but they're also quiet. They keep their mouths closed because of they have bigger concerns or they have matured in some way. And I think it's really important here that he's a person who sits on a chair that is a tree. So he is an earth person. It doesn't have to be a man, just represented here by a man, a bearded person. So going from this wild, attention-seeking rock star to this stable, earthy king. It could be like, this is a card of Taurus here. From fire to earth is a process of, you have some kind of Ace of Wands inspiration. You go into a hermit mode with that. So you become private. You seek your own counsel. You look inward for guidance. And on the other side, you come out this stable person. All right, so advice from your future self, this Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords, he is intellectual. He can be up in his head. It's not obvious, like the way that the rock star is like passion and lust. Like the Knight of Swords can come off very up in the head and not in the heart, not in the body. Very strategic. So there seems to be your future self wants to give you some strategy for moving through this process of becoming this, moving from your present Page of Swords, really uncomfortable up in your head state, into the earth, grounded, stable, feeling safe process that takes you on a hermit's journey. So we want to release completion. Looking at this, so you can see these people who are demonstrating underneath this towering statue. That's funny, because usually like the Four of Wands is like you're with your people, the people that get you. But I see them collaborating in a kind of social justice movement style. There's another card in here, the Seven of Wands, that's much more obviously about a militant social justice movement. This looks definitely like it's more joyful and fun. You can see their faces. This here above them, this seems really powerful and overshadowing, kind of crushing down on these people. And so that's what's making me think about, I'm seeing that, I think, because you got justice in your current state, which is causing you insomnia. And it isn't that justice, we're not going to be telling a story here where you don't work for justice. It's just that it's clearly disturbing you and ungrounding somehow what you're seeing, what you're reporting out. And you're just feeling this, I really feel how this statue is just like pressing down on these people. It almost seems like it's falling apart, which is not at all about stability. I think it's a very different card from how I tend to think of the Four of Wands. It's like a place I always want to go. It's like sometimes interpreted as marriage. It's definitely about being with your person, your best friend, It's a party. This one seems like the party's being pooped on here by this statue, which is Justice, isn't it? She has a sword. Yeah. Okay, well let's find out more about that. What this deck wants to add to your release of completion. So releasing stability in the Ten of Pentacles. Here, this is a very conventional, safe little life, even though we have in this card like a cute little lesbian couple. Yeah, lesbians can settle into a very normative family structure. That's, again, very much like this stable, everything's structurally normative. That's what I'm getting here from this release. Eight of Wands, there's communication, lots of passion, lots of movement here. Coming right from the third chakra here, your power. And again, see, there's a more traditional Four of Wands. It's a marriage. Marriage, it looks like it's happening in Arizona where I live, or somewhere where there's golden hills. So this is in your release. Yeah. Usually for me, like a release, it's like I have an idea of something and I need to change my mind about that idea. You know, like it's coming from money. Oh yes, this Eight of Wands coming from the third chakra. Like that's the place of self-protection and power. You know, it's coming from a burning purple gem in her sternum here, and that's where she's speaking from or acting from, which is awesome. But I feel like there is something here about very normative, structural, hetero, white ideas of, yeah. And I mean, I see this, and I'll say it, I see like three white people and one person with who's a brown person here. So I noticed that, and that's awesome, like allies and everything here. This is your release. It has to do with an ideal of coupledom. It has to do with super security in a very normative sense, the Ten of Pentacles. It's coming from self-protection, security. You're supposed to change your mind about this. I feel like you need a different image of what you want to head for. That in some way, like what's bothering you about justice in the world, and this new idea that you got here, this new desire, is, you know, on your rock star journey that takes you into the hermit mode, strangely, and then pops you out the other side as a King of Pentacles. Like, that is, this new idea is more connected to your earth, towards your ideals of justice, and it stabilizes you from the self-destructive rock star or the chatterbox Page of Swords. It's stabilizing, but it's not gonna look like what stability of the Four of Wands, which is coming through today as like very structural, very conventional, very much about security, right? So as your queer tarot reader, I must point out that you are concerned with justice. It's causing you to lose sleep. It feels like something has ended. It's big. It's like on the scale of justice. It's not just in your personal life, although that can feel like it needs justice brought to it. So if that resonates more, you've kind of gone into a mode of immaturity, of being loud and sort of, yeah, this rock star, this Knight of Wands, and also the chatterboxy Page of Swords. Like, you don't look grounded, but you're heading towards being grounded. And I feel like there's something coming from your pursuit of justice, this Ace of Wands, that is going to help you turn towards this more grounded, earthy, spiritual, alone under the stars, inside of yourself. You find insight. You find stability, but it's different from this very structurally condoned model. And it doesn't have to be that, like, if you're gay, like, even this little lesbian family is not queer in that it's just conforming. It's a conformist. And that is coming from this Eight of Wands. I think this is really important. Need for security and self-protection. Like, so when we're coming from there, we can get pretty controlling. And fours, like, I think of a Four of Pentacles as being about control, but here Four of Wands is coming through as not satisfying, just too conventional, too much about security. Okay, so you're being advised by the game master, your future self, the Knight of Swords, who knows something, who has a good strategy here. And he's a quick thinker. He's not like the Knight of Pentacles has a plan. The game master here, the Knight of Swords, also has a strategy, but it's up in the mind. It's very fast and responsive. And he's telling you, this future you is telling you to turn to the methodology, not of the Four of Wands, but of the High Priestess. The difference between the High Priestess and the Four of Wands is it's very much like the difference between the Knight of Wands or Rock Star here and the Hermit, which is being really out in the open and then being much more private, quiet. I mean, she's in a purple bath here with candles. Like, she's doing some self-care here. I always look at this card and it looks like she's actually fully clothed in the bathtub when I look at it. I see her in like a purple gown with some boots, actually, when I look at it. So there's coming through this High Priestess a real strong sense of self-care, but also being clothed, private, turning to your own counsel, it's a part of your journey here, as suggested by this Hermit as well. Very spiritual. What else? Let's see what the Star Seekers cards here have to say to you on this. So, okay. So there's a feeling of being left out. Five of Pentacles. Of lack. Of sorrow for yourself, for what you didn't get. And there is judgment. There is you rising from the flames. Judgment is about ascension. And the moon. You have a mysterious, deep, dark journey to take, my friend. The moon. It's a journey that's going to take you up from where you are, which is good because you're not in a comfortable place. It's a little bit of a self-destructive place that you're in, and you feel sorry for yourself where you are. You're in third chakra, survival mode. You're doing a lot of like insistence on this Four of Wands, this how it should look I'm getting. And what your future self wants you to know is like, look right at this idea you have of lack. And in order to rise from that idea, we're going to go on a moon journey. And the moon journey, like the High Priestess, is mysterious. It's very private. It's very deep. It's in your Piscean, watery side. I'd like to point out that today, which is May 13th, I'm like, what month is it? May 13th, we have a Jupiter popping into Pisces for a couple months here, I think till late July. And so what we get to see in Pisces is we get to go deep into that. The moon and Pisces are associated. So we're invited to go deep into ourself, again, the Hermit, the High Priestess, the moon, into the unknown parts of yourself, into the dark parts of yourself. It appears from what we've seen so far that you need to do this because your darkness is running you too much. Your pain, your rock star, Knight of Wands, this survival chakra, third chakra energy of self-protection. Like, you're coming from your armor. And I really see that in this image here. It's like, I see all the swords. It's very militant and armored, mechanistic here, ruin. It's sort of what you collect on a path of ruin. It almost seems like you're on a self-destructive path. There's no devil here, or anything to show that you're on that, but you're definitely going into your darkness. You're going into your moon journey. You need to look beneath all of the swords. And here you are kind of setting out on your little exploration, your moon journey here, where you confront the truth beneath your sort of overt sense of injustice that kind of is allowing you to be kind of, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you're kind of obnoxious, Sagittarius. It feels like you're talking from a place that is not wise. You're talking from swords. Not that swords aren't wise. You're talking from your solar plexus, from this armor, the rock star is so very much like the devil in a way, in that I think of like addictive behavior of like drinking too much, doing too many drugs, sort of sex addiction, all about seeking attention, putting things into you to give you this constant sense of high, very needy place. I'm not one that tends to fall for rock stars. Although in other decks, I totally identify with the Knight of Wands. So you're coming from a place that lacks wisdom. It's a righteous place, absolutely. It's about how the world should be. It's about your ideals. And it's coming also from this very sad little painful one left outside. And she's under a tree that is, growing money, and she feels left outside and feels impoverished. And of course, that's not true. That's a misperception. So you're supposed to look right into that, what's beneath your armor, and go on this moon journey. That's what your Knight of Swords says to you, Sagittarius. Very unsagittarian kind of reading. Because it's, as I said, I just love all these Sages. And so, it's not how, it doesn't seem like you're that heart forth, pure centaur self, that I see in other readings yet. You're kind of in a performance of that. but you're really suffering beneath it. That's often what I do see. Like Sag, you have like an outside and then a true inside, and a kind of tension there. Sag is a mutable sign, and mutable signs, um, they all seem to have a two-sidedness to them, a tension between the outside and the inside, or two selves, like Gemini, Virgo. Gemini is obvious. Everybody always talks about how Gemini is like two people. Virgos, if you know them, and I do, are people who can be so warm, and then they withdraw into the hermit mode, and then they become cold. And then the other mutable, mutable water is Pisces. And I don't know Pisces as well, although my father's a Pisces. I think of Pisces as like having extremes of being super beautiful, spiritual, but also having real low lows, addictive tendencies, visionary, but also like very in touch with their moon self, the darkness in them. And so those are so if you think about the two poles of yourself as a mutable sign, Sagittarius, between this facade of this chatterbox Page of Swords and this attention-seeking Knight of Wands, like that's one aspect of yourself. And then there's this Hermit, but here appearing here as your High Priestess. And there's a lot of like, this is how it should be, and I'm hurting because it's not that way in this reading. And so that's what your future self wants you to go right into that. Go right into the hurt beneath all of the posturing that you're doing. Okay, who is this future self, this game master that knows this about you? Of course, you know yourself better than anyone. So you know when you look back on this part of your life one day, you know, you're giving yourself advice from the future here. So the game master has and wants you to remember that you have strength, an ability to rise to your best self. Here, strength is represented by this woman just relaxing with the lion. And this is you with your animal nature, just relaxing, and that's a happy, loved lion. So strength is a card of nurturing yourself to your best self. Good strategy. A Hierophant. So the Hierophant is more structure. So remember, there's a lot of releasing of structure of how it should be, the Four of Wands. And the Hierophant is also about spiritual, institutional structures of society. So you have that in the future. This is a really fantastic star-filled being, very spiritual up on this red rock, and there's the moon. This looks to me like you emerging changed from your moon journey in a cloak of stars. Fantastic. I feel like we're seeing this journey that the Hermit goes on to become the King of Pentacles here. And what else? Two of Swords. Okay, the Two of Swords is about indecision or having two directions. So that's definitely a part of you, right? The mutable side of you. This card, though, is you, again, emerging really powerful from the darkness. And the blindfold simply means looking inward, like the Hermit, to your inner knowledge, your inner wisdom, the High Priestess in you, the Hermit in you, so that you emerge from your moon journey like deeply, powerfully, but also quietly, right? Peaceful, easy feeling here of strength, just lounging around with the beast in you under the sun in the day. And you know, this person who has faced the night on their moon journey. So Sagittarius, you torn between this facade, this rock star, chatterbox, page of swords, attention seeking, posturing. Really, I feel like anyone would agree with you about how the world should be, right? This is you. This is your people with you. This is what you're releasing. This is you and your people agreeing, yeah, right on. That's how the world should be, you know? But this is heavy on you and your people because it's coming from old structural ideas of should, how it should be. You know, people I hang around with, they say things like, don't should on yourself. And I feel like there is some shoulding on yourself. Here, you're losing sleep over it. But more, you're shoulding on the world. And there's a lack of acceptance here that's torturing you. When what you can do is actually look beneath that to your moon journey, the High Priestess. Both these cards say, your reader don't get to know much about that, except that when you return, it's very, very powerfully able to balance between this tension in you, very powerful in the darkness, you know, emerging, quiet, full of wisdom from like this Hierophant from that moon journey. And it's a very good strategy that your future self is suggesting that you take, because I just am a little bit worried, you know, about how this rock star journey that you're on, it's a potentially a journey of self-destruction. You know, it's got a lot of suffering if you go about it like a rock star. You could go about it like the King of Pentacles. You can go about it, I think, spiritually. Yeah, careful. Take good care of yourself. Self-care. Take a nice bath, light up some candles, do your spiritual work, and definitely let go of how it should be and go into your sorrow so that you can get out of all these swords, this 10 of swords, this 9 of swords. I hope that's helpful, Sagittarius. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck here for you. You know, wonderful. There is on the bottom of the deck a 10 of cups, like family, vacation, joy, pleasure. There is a 4 of cups, like the private time. There is 7 of swords. These are all about your the darkness. Yeah, this is a real tension between how the world should be, like a 10 of cups, and how the world feels secretly to you as kind of dark. And this is a card of secrets, of some secret idea in the darkness that you're going to face. And you can see yourself here looking to the losses, to the lack, again, under the moon. And then there is a new emotional beginning here. That's the beginning of the journey that takes you to this. It's just going to be a different image of that on the other side of this. It might look a little bit more like this. You with your lions, your pet. I don't know. It's a deeply spiritual journey that you are on. And to remind you what we got in the beginning, it's also one where you just are really rebuilding a world that you envision here in a 3 of Pentacles kind of way. All right, Sag, good luck with this. Take good care.